this event is not just a usual kind of event. Still has done, of course, 2 3 event, like really big one consecutive, but this one is special to me personally also, because it's not just a story. It's not just an idea that somewhere something is going to happen and we will experience that. But this whole story and this whole program is written in a way which is really highly sophisticated. You will see
Mm.
layers and layers and layers after layer that, and you will explore that. And by default is designed in a way that after doing that for a bit of time, if you spend some time with this, you will see that how your mindset will shift, how you will see so many other things in life which are not usually and normally obvious to us. So the complexities involved into that. Still has written this story with many folds in it. Hello, Anna.
Yes.
Oh, look at the
Yes. Hello,
background. Look
Anna.
at the
Hello,
background.
Anna. Hello, Anna. Hello, Anna.
Good morning.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
Keep
Good
going, Bina.
morning.
Keep going.
Yes. So this is something because I have experienced that. It's not only just on the surface what is going on because it's a profound idea, but so many things happening behind the scene, behind the story. And this is really a transformation. It is not something for everyone, of course. It's a big deal. And I always say that it's not everyone's cup of tea. But of course, you guys all are in this category, of course, that you can extract more and you can, of course, add more to this. So Sil is going to share these stories and, of course, his details about that. And he always encourage everyone to ask questions. We are going to do a lot of things. Hello, Gabe. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to
Yeah.
see everyone.
So he always encourage everyone to jump anytime to ask any question. There is no going to be like, okay, yes, oh, it's an interruption. Nothing. You don't need to wait for a second or anything. Just jump in right there. Ask any question. Disturb him. He's not going to be disturbed at all, because this is what capital R reading also for us. So just always just ask so as many questions as you want, because if you don't have any clarity, if you feel that, okay, what's he
Oh,
saying, what he's saying there, what we are doing here, just ask any question at any time at all. This is what capital R reading. We repeat things with so much respect and with so much love, because repetition is huge for
yes.
us, as many
Yes.
time as one can imagine.
Yes.
So Sil is
Yes.
here and he will
Yes.
continue.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you, Bina. Bina was doing a nice introduction for me there while I did all the sharing and all that, so that we can get right into it. And I'm just happy to see you here, Anna and Gabe as well.
Yeah.
This is just wonderful. I'm really thrilled here. There are many more coming, but many said I can't make it in the beginning. I'll probably come at the end. I've got all sorts of stuff going on, and so this is great. This is great. And as you probably see in chat, there's a whole bunch of people in chat. This is too magical. Yes, Erica as well. This is too fabulous. This is too fabulous. I'm thrilled. Oh, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'm really glad you're here, Erica. So, the reason I said this about being here and saying hi, it's about inclusivity. Inclusivity is so crucial to me and to what I'm about to share. Right now, inclusivity doesn't necessarily mean that you are a deep part of it or you subscribe to everything I'm saying. It just means that you're included and a part of it. And it's like my background, I very specifically chose it for this today, and that it's all about that connectivity, right? So this a greater connectivity that we all are a part of is what I want to share and celebrate. And the entire focus is around the connectivity via and through goodness, and particularly that the deep intent to goodness, which I feel each and every one of you and of us has. Yes, it's there in us in a very deep way. Now, unfortunately, in the world we live in, and that is where the superiority paradigm is the prevailing paradigm, that that goodness, that deep intent to goodness, that purity of heart, that kindness, that generosity that's in all of you doesn't always get the space and the scope and the environment and the support and the connectivity to be fully expressed, to be celebrated, and also particularly to have our difference celebrated, not sameness, but difference, to celebrate difference, to not just acknowledge it and accept it and tolerate it. No, to celebrate it. This is the key point that I'm sharing. Now, what I am really focused on, and the story is going to be about taking that goodness and saying, how can I take it further? How can I really take my goodness to the maximum? And in my story, and I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, it just happens to be a way. It's an alternative. And this is absolutely key that I wish to share. I'm sharing an alternative, a possibility. Because if there is a possibility to the prevailing paradigm that we're in, there can be other possibilities. And this is crucial, right? So this is absolutely key that I'm sharing that there can be other alternative possibilities. And the story of or that I'm going to be sharing over the next couple of months, and that we're going to just share the preface to the introduction to it today. And this story is about taking goodness as far as it can go in the form of nobleness, nobility, and the group that it's about, the society, the culture they call the new nobles. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with hereditary or titles or anything like this, but about actually being noble, right? The actual quality of being noble, nobleness, which here in a short, brief understanding of this, just to simplify, I will define as bonus goodness. It's goodness we don't have to do, we don't need to do, we do it through choice. For instance, right, when there's sort of, a fairness balance, well, I can choose to be unfair to myself by taking the higher road and not getting involved in something, for instance. Yeah, that type of logic, right? So this is a celebration of that deep goodness where I feel everyone that I know and everyone that I've invited, I feel fairly strongly confident that that goodness that I see, that moreness, is one which does this on a regular basis, once more, is willing to do that extra, is willing to be that extra goodness for no reward, no benefit, simply because it is good and right and it resonates with your deep inner heart. And I see that pureness of heart and goodness of heart in each and every one that I know, right? So this is where I'm heading, is to share an environment. And right, and I don't mean the environment of the story. Yes, that's its own environment, but the environment of the lives, the environment of the group, the environment of just being connected to it, and being connected to everyone who is connected to it. An environment where such goodness and such an intent to goodness and an intent to moreness can be can thrive and can exist and can be celebrated, right? And where you don't have to, like in many instances, like I know many people who are in corporate, for instance, they can't express their goodness because it's seen as weakness or corniness or lameness or whatever, right? And so they hide it and they have to shelter it. And this is what I want to provide an alternative to say, no, this is not an ideal way of being. There are other ways that we can be. And I want to provide this alternative. So I think that all of what we're going to be doing is really profound, or at least what I want to be sharing is massively profound, for saying there is ways that we can be different in this world. We do not have to subscribe to the paradigm. And I feel that it's not just me that's starting this. For instance, Donna said to me, I think last weekend or the weekend before, Matthew McConaughey held an event. And he specifically used the term capital M, more. He's focusing on moreness, capital M, more, specifically used that term with the same intent as I've been using it, right? So this is really cool. I'm saying that it's not just me, but the greater world. And all of you know, in all of what you're doing, you're also putting out moreness, also putting out goodness. I want to emphasize, though, that there is an alternative where we can take this all the way, right? So it's a profound alternative that, and of course, in the sharing, in the detailed longer term sharing, that there is going to be sharing of all of the tools and details and mechanisms and attitudes and mindsets and habits and all of the things that make up changing a paradigm. All of those will be shared, and very particularly the language. It's not about me making a new language. No, It's about me sharing how we can use our existing language to communicate and share and connect to this new paradigm that we wish to enter into. Because language is so intrinsic to how we think, how we feel, how we are, everything. It's very foundational. So it's very core. And the more we are in an environment that has this supportive language that exemplifies everything we're trying to do, the more we become that. It is a way of inadvertent learning and change. So the language and this environment that supports it is absolutely critical. You probably all know that in your modalities, in your personal things that you talk about, whether it's the art or the flow state, whatever it is, doesn't matter, right? You have a particular language, but sometimes you go to an environment and you feel like you can't use that language. Yes. Now, of course, the environment that I wish to create is one where all those languages are all celebrated. They're all appropriate, right? Because we're celebrating difference. So it's about this massive inclusivity is very, very key. And this is what I am keen to share and get started and have us all be connected, however loosely, however peripherally, doesn't matter. Just knowing that there is this bigger thing, the thing behind me, that it's out there, right? And that, yes, I'm a dot on that point. It's a dot that you're aware of, and each dot is a portal point, right? And we can all be those dots. This is really, really key and cool to it. Before I actually get started on sharing the content, is there any questions, any comments, anything from anybody? Please share. Please share.
I actually
I-
didn't
Oh, you
know.
don't have to put up your hand. You can just jump in. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just saying that when you were explaining about the importance of language, I think that what I have learned in the last 3 years, that it creates new association. That's why it is important. It is not just to use fancy words and fancy terms all the time, big words to overwhelm other people, but it is for creating new association in our mind. That okay, because these are not usual words we use. So that's why it is really important for me to, whenever we are learning something new, to learn some new words also specific to the new perspective, so that it creates a new association in our mind. So we don't need to every single time just go back and change that. So it's energy efficient also. So that's why it is important to have new words for new perspective. At least this is my understanding.
Yeah. It helps tremendously. It helps
Yes.
tremendously. It's a big
And
deal. Jessica?
that's something that I have learned too, is that, not everybody, like if you use big words, people are going to look at you like, huh? So
Yeah,
and
totally.
definitely, and I've experienced that a lot of times. So I have learned to change my language so it's universal. So it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
people are more
Yes,
able to connect them a lot better. And which
yeah.
does help my interpersonal, like,
Brilliant.
quality of people, because I went from, you
Yes.
know, having people not understand me to actually people understanding me now, because I'm able
Brilliant.
to,
Brilliant.
connect that. And it really does
Yeah,
help a lot. And,
yeah.
it's been amazing, and to be
Very
honest
cool.
with you, just changing it up. And, that way also, because you can create that universal understanding. It's not
Exactly.
just a singular
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that,
Exactly.
from my personal experience, it's helped me greatly. I
Yes.
went from not being able to
Yes.
communicate very well to people to now I can communicate all I want and people are going to understand
Exactly.
me
Exactly. Exactly.
and where
Hello,
I'm coming
Joanne.
from.
Hello, Joanne. Hello, Robin. Sorry, Jessica, to cut you off there, but I do want to say hello. It's important. It's important. That ability to communicate. The language that I'm going to be sharing is the language of moreness. We grow up and our default language has many assumptions, many connectivities to it, many implications, many shoulds, many supposed tos, many must be's, all of that stuff. All of it goes to creating this paradigm and upholding it. But if we switch that out and we start using a language of moreness, a language that says, here be alternatives, here be different attitudes, here be different mindsets. Right? Now we start to shift and expand what we can do. And we can unhook from that regularity. And this is the massive key, is to unhook from this prevailingness that half the time we don't even realize that we're subscribing to inadvertently. Brilliant. Yes, Paul as well. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Very cool. So I've been talking about sharing, and the key of what I'm sharing is about unhooking from the prevailing paradigm. And two, I'm going to be sharing a alternative paradigm, an alternative, and just the fact that there is an alternative. And now hopefully what I'm going to be sharing over the next coming months with the reading of the story is to show that this is a plausible alternative. That plausibility is absolutely key. It's absolutely key and crucial, right? And this
Yes,
is cool.
sorry,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. Anna and Gabe, that they have their hand raised and you missed that.
Oh, I didn't see. Yes, it's not showing the hand raised there. Please just
No,
jump in,
now
Anna
they
and
just
Paul.
gave up on that.
Oh, no, don't give up. No, don't give up. Just jump in. Just jump in. Don't worry about putting the hand up. I don't actually see it. So, all right. But yeah, please just jump in. Anna, please share. Please share. I want to hear from you. And Paul too. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
It's all right. I just wanted to basically agree with you. Words are really important. I remember reading about Maya Angelou and how she was adamant about being impeccable with your words, and she even put Tupac in his place about the F word so much.
Yes,
You know, I disagree with Karen a little
yes.
bit on that, because I think sometimes a good F bomb is quite effective,
It
quite
can
good.
be. Yes,
Words
yes.
are spells. Words, you know, we
Yes.
spell words because they are
Yes.
spells. We use them
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
we use them to exact our magic in the world. I
Exactly.
use
Exactly. Yes.
I use words in my paintings all the time. So yeah, words are very important.
Yes. They're
That's what I want
crucial.
to
They're
say.
crucial. And when we get into the moreness of the words, like the word moreness itself, you know, it came for me from using capital M more, because when you really start to think about that, you know, moreness and capital M more, it's a philosophy really. This is what I'm sharing, this philosophy of moreness, but just a capital T trust. The difference between capital T trust and regular trust is a huge gulf. You know, regular trust, we were like, well, our trust are going to be taken care of. Well, it's just an excuse for laziness, or, you know, sorry, it's terrible. It's over. I see Grape nodding there. You know, it's exactly what I mean when people say, oh, I just trust that everything's going to work out. And then, of course, it's a calamity. You know, yeah, but I trusted. No, you're just using that as an excuse for being lazy, sorry, and for being crappy. No, that's not going to cut it. Capital T trust says, oh, I've been impeccable, and not just with my word, but with every single action, right? This is impeccability. It's not just about your word. That's like saying that, you know, I need to be healthy with my forearm. No, I need to be healthy with my whole body, not just my forearm, right? So I know this came up before, this impeccable with your word. Yes, it's important, but it's also important to be impeccable with all of you, right? With every single thing. So when we are impeccable, which means best use of energy, which means doing what's right according to you and your conscience, and being thorough, being disciplined, being diligent, right? Being scrupulous, being conscientious. This is all what impeccability is. Now, and I've done all of that, then what's left? Nothing else to do, except, of course, to trust. Now it's out of my hands. I've done everything I can do. Now I trust. Yes. And this is a key element to what I'm going to be sharing. That type of nuance, that type of discernment, that type of detailed layeredness. And in last week I said, which was a kind of a setup in putting it into the context of my little world. But the core of last week was about exquisiteness. One of the key elements that I'm going to be sharing is this putting myself onto a path of exquisiteness. Yes, perfection, that doesn't work, but exquisiteness, yes, this is attainable. Yes, and to say, I wish to be more. And that moreness of exquisiteness, where I have this ability, I have the nuance, I have the awareness, I have the sophistication, the discernment, the understanding to be able to be exquisite as required. Because goodness on its own It's a wonderful thing, but it's like love on its own. Without awareness, without exquisite application, can sometimes cause trouble. Now, I hear this sometimes. I get a bit of pushback. Say, well, love is everything. All you need is love. No, sorry. I see many instances where people love inappropriately, and it causes all sorts of trouble, right? So there is such a thing as inappropriate application of goodness. And I know people here in this group who have who have done this, right? And who can share and give testament to inappropriate application of goodness. You meant to be good. You had every intention of good, but you simply didn't know how. And, you were doing, and so you caused a lot of trouble through this inappropriate application of goodness, right? So we want to get past that. We want to get into that exquisiteness where we can love and be caring and be good with appropriateness. Yes. With awareness. Gabriel, is that a handful to chat? Just jump in.
Oh, no, I was actually in rhythm.
Brilliant.
In a peaceful rhythm.
Brilliant. I know, Paul, you wanted to say something, right, Paul? But please, guys, just jump in. Just jump in.
I will say something if you don't mind. So,
it's okay.
I'm a language teacher, English.
There you go.
That's a big deal. But I work with people in China. Okay, so different culture, different way of understanding English, right?
Exactly.
And people's language globally, it's not about the language. It's about the sleight of mouth. What we learn how to say in patterns that are not good for us, and that starts to create different paradigms, that kind of good stuff. What I love about language is that when we do speak with that kind of integrity, our vibrations, our verbal vibrations, are energetic, okay, sound energy, which actually, helps keep attracting all those goodness that you keep talking about. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to speak with elegance, eloquence, even just integrity alone, the impeccable word, like Don Luis, which we know about that, the 4 agreements. So, words are powerful, but people, we learn to have that sleight of mouth, right? We learn to speak how we were raised in that particular neighborhood. And then, we just become that. Even though we are hearing about possibilities in language, we find it a little bit difficult to believe only because of the words that we've learned to speak that don't allow us to believe. So there's always going to be a little energetic resistance there saying, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but, my language doesn't conform to that because I haven't developed that skill. And it's a skill. We actually learn to develop the skill of possibility. It's an amazing way to communicate. And as long as we're vibrating elevated words, and there's so many which are amazing, and your language skills are so elegant, so that it's captivating to sit here and listen to you and say, you know what, man, he makes so much sense, and it's about simplicity in how you speak, right? Because as adults, we forget how to listen in simplicity. We got all complicated with our own language.
Huge point. Huge point.
Let's go back to being and understanding things like a 6-year-old who didn't question possibilities.
Exactly.
And their language was really simple. It was like, I am going to do this simply because it's available to me in possibilities. So there's a lot to learn with adults in terms of reverse engineering their paradigm. That's what I want to say about that.
Yes, Paul, please share. And remind me after Paul, I want to comment on that listening with simplicity. Paul, please share.
I just wanted to follow on from what Anna said. There's a famous 19th century occultist by the name of Aleister Crowley. People will hear his name and they either love him or they loathe him.
Yes, I'm familiar with him.
He's one of those kind of people that there's sort of the boundary between genius and madman is very, very thin. His saying was, we spell words and use words and spells because magic and language is so interconnected. And one of the things that we talk about, like you used the word like love, right? So I could say I love you and it would mean nothing. But if I put in words and I say, I love you. So there's a cadence change, isn't there? So the cadence change in intention. You kind of go that one little bit step further. like in order for words to actually exert power over us, they actually have to have not just intention, but some form of power. That's why in all the ancient texts, they spoke in rhymes. They spoke in rhymes of three, because the rhythmic way of speaking, like rap or singing, like that rhythmic way of singing has an effect. So I could say like, I really love you, and it might mean nothing. If I was to sing a song, right, it would have a completely different effect upon you. It has a completely different effect on the person saying it. Just kind of wanted to add that.
Oh, where'd you go?
I'm here. Hello.
Yes, everybody's here.
Oh no, I just
screen
paused
rearranged itself.
sound
Huh?
cut out for a second there.
Oh, did it? I don't know what was the last bit you had?
No, I don't know. It was jumping, so it's little bits. I don't know what the last bit was.
Oh, okay. Well, I said that.
It was
in
about
order to-
rhythmic transcript.
Yeah, about the what we say has to have a certain amount of rhythm. Like the more rhythm we speak with, the more intention and more power we give to whatever we're saying.
There we go.
That's why things like rap, poems, and songs have such an emotional impact upon us, because it's the rhyme that builds the tempo, that builds the kind of the momentum and the energy and the power, the intention
Yes.
within us. So if I
Yes.
say something flat, everyone goes, oh, well, he doesn't believe it. But if I add something to it, like if I shift my body as I speak, then again, it adds something more to it. You know, it's like when people say, oh, you should never curse yourself. Like we're always going, oh, I'm such an idiot. You know, and if we just
exactly.
If we say it like a blanket, like monotone, it probably isn't going to have any effect. But if we start like building energy into it and shifting our body as we go with it, it does encode itself within us. We all kind of need to be like careful how we, backslap ourselves with our words,
And really quick on top of words to go off of that, the energy of the tone and things like that also, like just like you guys were talking about. Okay, so here's a quick example of how this even works. I was at recently moved, so I was at my other job, and I lost my voice, and Sil was great. Like he heard it, the fact that I literally lost my voice and I was down to whispering. And because of my whispering, I still though kept up with my energy. And so it didn't matter if I had lack voice. I was able to help keep up my energy and really be able to still communicate with, my clients. And the best thing was that it really kind of hit home to me how much it really does matter, because like they would tell me, I feel like I whisper because you're whispering. And I'm like, you don't need to whisper, it's because I lost my voice. But they were still very happy to talk to me and listen to what I had to say about all the different products we do have that could help them.
Yes.
They weren't discouraged. They weren't getting frustrated or anything, because I kept up my positive energy. And, the energy you do have really does matter too.
Yes.
Relentless positivity is huge when it comes to communication.
Yes.
One thing I do ask people when I hear that, well, I should do this. Well, the question really is, should you, or do you want to? Do you want to do this?
Should. Yes. It's not necessarily the
why
answer.
do you think you should do this?
Exactly. Question should itself. All right. I want to just take a quick sideways break here. Important. I want to just say hello to everybody in chat. I started to type, but it's too much, so I can't. So hello, Cami. I'm really thrilled you're here. Hello, Elaine. Sure, of course, I'm clearly thrilled you're here. Sure was going to be on Zoom, but wasn't able to. So all good. Meister, I hope I'm saying your name right, Meister. I think so. Hope so. Rick, man, I'm thrilled here, Rick. I'm thrilled here, Rick. And Rick made some great comments there if you guys are looking at comments. This is absolutely a key deal. And yes, Rick is emphasizing something Bina said. Deliberately learning new words to bond associations. Absolutely. Association management is a prime tool when we can reassociate. It's so simple sometimes, but it can change our whole world. Lisa, wonderful. You know, Lisa's a big part of the story that I'm going to be sharing. So this is very magical that year, Lisa. This is just too awesome. I love it. Elaine already said, Frida, I'm really thrilled that we are. So this is also very cool. When I was on Zoom one day with Frida, by the way, and Frida was saying, wow, so you named this concept of noble. Just naming it is huge. And it was a big deal. And I've got the stories, I've got a post out of it somewhere, memorialized. And just after she said that, she says, oh, I've got to run outside. The whole world is shaking. And I said, oh, I hope that is metaphorical. She says, no, literally. Massive earthquake happened. But I thought it was so incredible from an abstract point of view that there was a whole world was shook up by this concept. It was really fantastic. You remember that, Frida? I hope so. I never forgot it. It was cool. So yes, Connie, I'm thrilled here. Connie, absolutely great. Thank you. I know Connie's on a retreat, hosting her own retreat, and she does these wonderful retreats. So I'm really thrilled that you're making this time to just be here. It's absolutely important and a big deal. And I know many others too have made a special effort to be here. It's hard to find a time where everybody can be here. Susan, brilliant. Love you, Susan. I was hoping you'd also be on Zoom, but all good. You know, I particularly like to see all the participants of Way-of-Impeccability come on Zoom, but you know, it is what it is. So no worries. You know, again, no pressure. Yeah. Oh, it was 6 October. Frida remembers the date even. Maida, not Meister. Okay. Thank you for the correction. I like that. All right, brilliant. Love you, Connie. Yes, absolutely. You know, just anything Connie shares always just brings joy and wonderfulness to my heart. Elizabeth Entrusted is here as well. Wonderful. See, I like Elizabeth using a Way of Impeccability name there. Like we've got, you know, anyway, there are lots of them. So Erica Empowered was here earlier too. I didn't see a comment from Erica, but I did see her somewhere. Oh, she came on Zoom. She came for briefly on Zoom and dropped off. So anyway, to get back to where we were. So I like those names. They're very cool, you know. Anyway, yeah. Like Show Unbound, of course. You all know Show Unbound. This is very cool. So to get started on the sharing of what I want to do, just a story and to introduce it, because the key for the story is that it binds. It's like when you go on a date and you go to dinner, you know, it gives you something that gives you something to connect to that fills in those gaps, right? And that connectivity, that ongoing connectivity is very awesome, so that we have something that gives us that center point to connect to. So this is what I'm going to be starting to share right now. Yeah, please guys jump in. Bina's going to help with the comments there. So Bina, if you'll monitor the comments while I share here. And before I go, if anybody has something they want to add or ask a question, please jump. Yes, Erica is here. Yes, and it's Erica's iPhone, but it should say Erica Empowered. That was the very first time I saw Erica on Zoom. I said, oh, Erica Empowered, and it stuck, and it turned out to be very, very, very prophetic. So anyway, very appropriate, very cool.
So Robin is also here.
Yes, that's right. Robin repainted. There you go. Did I not mention Robin? Oh, no, I said
Ryan
Robin.
is here, Janelle is here.
Yes,
So yes, we have our family also.
Wonderful.
And of course, John was sharing such a good stuff in the Zoom chat also. So please, John, share it right away on Zoom. I think on video or audio, whatever you want to. So please share directly.
And Jessica Exploded is here too. You know, Jessica was just going along, and all of a sudden, you know, it just took one conception, one understanding. You know, I said to Jessica, you know, Jessica, from my point of view, my perspective, all of the struggles and difficulties, and Jessica's had lots of stuff in her life, right? And I said, they don't come from your lessness. They come actually as a result of your moreness. And that exploded Jessica right there, you know, thinking it through. An inability to deal with her moreness. All right, brilliant. That's for another time, Jessica. We'll share that as we go along, because it's a wonderful, wonderful story. There's lots of moreness there, but in the interest of time and moreness, I love going into those detailed stories. And this is ongoing. Furthermore, this is the point of a capital R reading. There's no pressure to finish where you go. You sometimes, in capital R readings, we can take an hour on one sentence, right, Bina? But I want to just get started today, though. So today I'm going to just take that a little bit different. So a little bit more. All right. So here we go. Well, she's great. Now, just to put this into context here, what I'm sharing is it's the story, and it's part of a program and my bigger programs. It's just I'm not sharing it because I want somebody to do the program. No, that's totally not necessary. I'm sharing it as a capital R reading. It's just the format that I have it in, right? And this is a very key part of it to understand, right? And I want to emphasize, I'm not looking for anybody to be a join my system or whatever. No, I'm sharing it as an alternative. I'm not looking for followers or anything like that. No, not at all. I'm sharing it as a magical alternative only. That's it, right? As Moreness, as an exemplification of Moreness. And I think Rick asked about examples of Moreness language. Rick, you are going to get tons of it coming at you. You'll probably see in the writing, typically the capitalized terms and things like that, right? I mean, nobleness, nobility, and noble. They're right there. The way I'm using them is, of course, not the way they are usually meant when you use the word nobility in language. Nobility can mean about the quality of being noble, but typically it's also related to hereditary and titles and all that, right? It has baggage, in other words. That's why the story they call the new nobility or the new nobles. New, always they say new to differentiate and distinguish between that. So yeah, don't worry about it being part of the program. That's just happenstance, right? So we're going to, this is the introduction to the story, right? Look at that, look at that. So I do want to share the graphics, right? They are important. They do make a difference, and there's a whole long Moreness too. Just the graphics, the backgrounds, all of it. It's all very important, right? So this module will utilize a book series, the Biala series, in course format to exemplify and demonstrate, reveal, and otherwise bring to awareness and incorporation a predominant aspect of our Moreness, namely nobleness and nobility. The application of the profound conception of noble and what it means to us in practical implementation. I have to emphasize this. I am looking to share how nobility and nobleness can be practically applied. That's why I chose to write a detailed story to create this world, the society about it, and the key character is going to demonstrate the practical application, because this is not about something theoretical. Remember, I was saying I'm looking to share a plausible alternative, plausible, right? And this, to me, has to be demonstrated through practicality, through application, through a story. So in other words, if you say, oh, you know what, I read your story and I can see this, I can feel myself there, I can understand it. Yes, we all know stories aren't always necessarily as realistic and real as we'd like them to be, but from there, we can say, you know what, I can see how I can take that and incorporate it into my life. I can see how potentially, if I was in an environment where these were the paradigms, these were the behaviors, these were the connections and associations, this was the mood and the tone, I would be different. To make an example of this, how we are cued by environment. Right? When I'm at home just with myself, I may, like we were talking earlier about the F-bomb and all that, right? Yes, they have their appropriateness, but I may say and behave in ways where when I go to the principal's office or to my boss's office, I'm not going to be doing any of that. Yes, it's just unthinkable. So environment cues our behavior. And this is the key to what I'm doing. I am looking to create with this sharing, this ongoing sharing over the next couple of months, to create an environment which cues our Moreness, which cues that intent to goodness, which cues your deeper desire for that Moreness, for more awareness, for discernment, for understanding, for goodness, for application, for all the tools of application, for knowing, for learning, for growing. all of this is the environment. And when we have such an environment of deep respect for each other, deep trust for each other, deep acceptance of each other, you don't have to be special. You don't have to be fancy. You don't have to be clever. You just have to be you. Your goodness is enough. And a key paradigm that I'm sharing is you are enough. And you are also more. Both together, not either or. Yes, I just have to look through all of you on just when I see, right, anyone I look at here, I can pick any one of you and say you are enough, and you are also more. This is the environment and the culture and that I wish to share, right? This is the grand environment that I wish to be, right? And it's about practical implementation, not theory. Practical. Because as you probably have heard me say many times before, and you'll see here many times again, without application, it's all meaningless. So this capital R reading of the story is an application. It is an implementation, right? As we go through it, we'll be discussing it because it's a capital R reading, not just listening to the story. We're going to be making comments and questions and going sideways and going in depth and understanding. That's all applications, application of discernment, application of understanding, application of awareness, right? And in the other order, awareness, discernment, understanding, ADU, because they add to you, all leading to application. All right. We'll be immersing into a story, but the story is not the point. It's a greater representation via the magic of implication of all of Way of Impeccability and its inferred moreness, right? That's our focus. Now, again, say, oh, Way of Impeccability, you're asking me to believe something. No, not at all. Way of Impeccability is not a belief system, right? It's simply a collection of self-evident sensibilities, like I was saying about capital T trust earlier, and about impeccability itself. When you understand what it is, it's a self-evident sensibility. It's like goodness. I don't need to explain to you why goodness is good. If you don't get why goodness is good, well, I don't know, sorry, there's kind of no hope for you really, right? Goodness is a self-evident sensibility. Yes, same with impeccability, trust, honesty, integrity, all of these conceptions. Those are what comprises Way of Impeccability, right? It's a collection of self-evident sensibilities. And many of those also then become techniques and tools of living, tools of particularly deliberate living. So again, yes, this is founded on Way of Impeccability, but we all have that. I've just put it into a collection to bring it forth, to bring attention to it, to bring full awareness to it, to elucidate it, right? Because sometimes we know things, but it's not elucidated. And I'm using this word. Yes, it's a big fancy word, and I love this word because it means to shine light from all angles. Yes, every aspect is lit up so you can see all of it, right? This is elucidation, seeing the all. This is absolutely crucial, right? So this is, don't worry that Way of Impeccability, I'm not looking to, get, no, it's just there as a tool, right? Inferred moreness. Your ongoing task, again, this is for the course part, right? Or at least our ongoing task is to extract the moreness, the practical applications, and the overall conceptuality of nobleness, nobility, and being noble as a way of being and a way of living. Now, if nobleness doesn't appeal to you, that's okay, because nobleness is a choice. It's not a requirement. I have to emphasize this. It is a choice. It goes to your predilection of being, right? This is not a necessity. It's bonus goodness. You don't have to do it, right? So if you say, nobleness, not for me, thank you very much, that's totally okay. It's part of the story and the culture that I'm going to be sharing is that they totally celebrate and encourage people to recognize what is for them. Whatever your path is, it's your path. Nobleness happens to be the particular path of the story, of the people in the story, right? And the story is about those who have chosen that particular path. There's no better or worse. In this world, this universe, this new paradigm that I'm sharing, that better and worse gets thrown out. Comparative mindset, comparative logic gets thrown out, right? It's just not there. Oh, that reminds me. So you see the little under arrows here, just the way that I have the slide set up. I put sort of bonus extra underneath this. And this was from somebody who did do this as a course, or is doing this as a course, is their repeat back. At some point, I'll probably add a takeaway here too, and maybe a little mini list of dictionary of power terms. But this is just just a bonus extra. But I want to just share it so that anybody watching the replay can look at this repeat back, because it's essentially saying the same thing as the slide above it, just in different language. And this is magically useful, because sometimes the way somebody says something doesn't quite click with us. Then the next person comes along and they say it, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, I get it now, right? Sometimes it takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 people, but hey, we get there eventually, right? It's all providing those extra viewpoints, a little bit of extra light. So it's just a part of how I set up things and like to do things. It's really huge. All right, perspective shifting, as always, will be a huge part of the module of the story, because the module means the story, right? Right from the start, look at how to perspective shift to connect the underlying logic of the introduction and also the overview perspective of the greater context and how it makes sense. This is key. This is key. This is what I'm asking to say. I'm sharing this alternative paradigm, and to pay attention to how it makes sense. That once we say there is an alternative paradigm and it does make sense within its own context, now we've established that an alternative can exist. I don't have to subscribe to that alternative just to know that it can exist, right? Very, very important. What's implied, what's the intent of the setup, the implications, and more. Right? So my intent here is not to get followers or get people to believe me or trust me. No, I really never, ever want that. Because if you're just believing what I'm saying, then you're missing the point of what I'm saying, which is, impeccability is thinking for yourself, thinking it through to the end, being able to perspective shift, trusting yourself, having your own ability to be aware and discern and understand. So if you're believing me, then you're actually not hearing what I'm saying, right? So it's a bit of a peculiar thing in a way, but it's very powerful. It's very powerful. So look at the implications too. This is what capital R reading is all about, implications. We're really going to get into those implications. There's always more. And one layer to everything in the Moreness project, right? More. There's always more than one layer to everything in the Moreness project. Yes, absolutely everything that I'm going to be sharing is multi-layered. Yes, and sometimes we're going to really get into those multi-layeredness, especially in the prologue, right, Bina? You remember that, how it was like, although we even made special lists of like implicative terms. It was really cool. So we'll see this, and this is a new way of thinking about things, a new way of connecting that I want to share, right? A new environment where we have scope to go into detail, because typically we don't have an environment where we can go to the nth degree. We can go all the way to the end. There's always, there's not enough time, or people don't want to sit and listen to me umming and ahhing and struggling to express what I'm saying. No, yeah, in this capital R reading and the sharing, in coming over the however long it's going to take on the Zooms, this is where we're going to do it. And you can come not only on Sunday, you can come anytime if you want to discuss this. My Zoom is open. If you've gotten my Zoom, you can come anytime. If there's something that's particular of pertinence and importance to you that you really want to say, I'm struggling with this, I don't get it, I want more on this, you're welcome. Any time, right? This is what I'm all about. There's always more than one layer to everything in the Moreness project. In addition to all of Way-of-Impeccability and implied Moreness, which extends from it, we're also going to be adding discernments such as Moreness language here, Rick, communication construction, contextual cueing, and similar, via our layered connectivity to the story, Biala, Nobilia, the new nobility, and the group. Now, the reason that, learning to hear, see, feel, perceive more is our intent. And this is the grand intent here. And also, the reason that the Biala, Nobilia, the new nobility, and her group, the reason I like to share them is they have a particular appeal, at least to I have found, to good people and people who love goodness and those who are pure of heart. And they have a grand romance to them. They're very endearing and to our hearts, right? So when
And
we
these are
have something
characters,
that's
sir?
motivating, Correct, correct.
Yes,
And
and
not
these are
just
going to be the character in the story.
correct,
Just want to
correct.
add something here that
Please,
because
please,
we
Bina,
are
please.
going into the detail. Really, I personally feel that what is the line underneath the last line of this? We are going to learn, see, perceive, and feel more. This is the real true essence of this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
story, of course, and the details, because it brings and it enhances, it amplifies the ability to perceive more. It helps me, at least I'm just sharing my experience, because it helps me to perceive more when I was doing my art courses. It helps me to perceive more, and I start doing my poetry in more better way. And then when I'm writing stories and a lot of other things. So it's not only about like just to be able to communicate well with other people, but it is it enhances the ability to communicate with ourselves also. At least this is what happened for me when I was doing that and after doing that. So this is something very cool for me because Sil has a very particular language and of course a very sophisticated, and he's very eloquent into that. And I learned so much from him. Of course, you guys can obviously understand that. But it is not only about language. It sounds like very intellectual that, okay, yes, we are going to, but it's all about feelings. It's all about perceiving directly, perceiving energy directly, perceiving the moreness and the feelings. So yes, in the beginning, it was like really, oh my God, I'm just getting into that soul intellectual thing. But no, it is
No,
more
no,
about
no,
the
no.
feelings. There is
Yeah,
so much more
yeah,
into it.
yeah, yeah.
Because I know that Sil's emphasis on understanding and of course using the language, it is
Yeah,
important, of
yeah.
course, but
Yeah.
it has much more than that, and especially
Yes.
the feeling and the energy part. This is
Yes,
so
yes, yes,
so profound.
yes. And please don't call me an intellectual. I know I might sound that way, but you
You
know,
sound like
intellectual is not about being practical. And I'm all about being practical. Yes, I appreciate I might sound intellectual, but really I'm not, you know, and I don't really care for this term because it disconnects from practicality. All of what I say, it's only because I make that effort to think things through to the end and apply multiple perspective shifting or perspective shifting to multiple perspectives. So, and also because I'm employing this language of moreness, right? And I teach a language of conceptuality. Now, I very seldom use this word teach. I don't really care to teach much because there's a lot of complications involved with this term teaching. But anyway, the language of conceptuality is something that I teach. It's another name for way of impeccability. It's a language of conceptuality. Joey, please, Joanne, sorry, Joanne, please say. Share, jump in anytime. You're more than welcome. Anybody, jump in.
All right, I'm gonna jump in.
Please.
So, yeah, don't call you an intellectual, but you know,
Oh.
you really have an amazing, amazing way of expressing yourself. Very nice,
Oh,
really,
thank you,
and it's quite captivating. You know, I mean,
thank you.
I've been wanting to go since 9 a.m., but I'm here because I'm captivated by you. I really am.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
what
Make
I've
me
been
cry.
listening. Well, we'll cry together. You know, if you need a tissue for your issue, I got one.
Joanne says intellectual. Thank you, Joanne.
Intellectual.
Thank you.
But
Inter, not
inter.
in.
Exactly. But I want to point out something that I observed a lot, and again, because of language, right? And it's something that's very specific, how we vibrate with language. And I'm going to just count it out real quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I picked up 15, 16 amazing elevated words, adjectives, or values in your slides, right? So as you were reading these slides, I'm observing the language in your slides and why they captivated me. And I kept reading and listening to you because you said words like this: moreness, nobility, profound, practical, greater, magical, impeccability, being, way of living, awareness, discernment, construction, intent, sense, perceiving. You know, these are all elevated energetic words. They carry high vibrations of moreness. You know, all this path opens up to that. You know, what is possible? What is moreness? Where is this leading me to? And every time we pay attention to that, we put our energies towards paying attention to that, we're really just growing in an amazing way.
Exactly. Exactly.
In consciousness, of course, and we're not used to that. This is a skill. It's a skill
Yes.
to really get aligned.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I talk a lot about what's heart and brain coherence, but there's a lot of other elements, components involved, and one of them is language. That
Yes.
vibration of elevated
Exactly.
words has everything to do with it. That's why affirmations felt as if are powerful when spoken with the right words. We do not despair in conversation.
Yeah.
We must not despair. Why would you anyway?
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
just feels bad.
Exactly.
So thank
Exactly.
you for allowing me to observe you like this.
Exactly. Now, Gabriel, you saw me getting super excited.
Yeah.
What you did was start Gabriel's Dictionary of Power.
Right here.
You started a Dictionary of Power. Yeah. It's too fantastic. It's too fantastic. And the reason it's called a Dictionary of Power is because these are conceptionalities. They're conceptions, not just words, not just terms. There's more to them. See, they are like the points on my background, which is why I so specifically chose this. Each conception, that's what a conception is. It's connected to others. Words just kind of on their own. They don't have moreness to them. They're not connected. Plus, conceptions are open. They evolve, they change, they grow. Like impeccability, it's always growing. There's always more to it, right? It's not static. It's not defined. Whereas chair or grass or whatever, it's what it is, right? But conceptions, they connect us to more, and they enable us to truly connect and perceive more. Right? They change our
Yes.
perception, and then we can see, oh, the world is actually a bit more than I thought. And one thing you probably hear me say very often is, the world does not work the way you think it does.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Nope. Sorry, it does not. It does not. It does not. And this is such a huge deal, because the moment we think we know how the world works, we make it small. Yeah.
Right.
The world does not.
100%.
Thank you,
I wanna-
Joanne.
I
Thank
wanna-
you,
I want
Joanne.
to say something, share something,
Please.
because is it only me, or you guys also feeling when Gabe was talking, it was like something grandeur is about to happen. Really, like we are going to have some Shakespeare drama or something there. I was really enjoying that. So brilliant, too brilliant. Other than you
No,
sharing,
I was
Gabe,
able to do it
of
too.
Yeah. Donna joined us. DS Donna, as she's since I was sharing Way-of-Impeccability
Donna.
names. Divine Self Donna, or also known as Detective Sergeant Donna, because she's very good at investigating, right, Donna? I'm very thrilled you're here, Donna. I'm really thrilled you're
We
here.
can
I'm
only
really
see you
thrilled you're here.
this, Donna.
Yes.
We can only see this.
There
Oh,
we
yes.
go. There we go. Donna Moreness. That's another name for her too.
Nice to see
And
everybody.
I'm thrilled you're here, Donna. I'm thrilled you're here.
I
Absolutely
had to
thrilled you're here.
update my computer to join this
Oh,
beautiful moment.
I'm pleased that you
few
brought
minutes.
your beauty to join us. Yes, absolutely. I see this moreness in people. I can't help it. I just see it. In my whole life, I've spent training myself to see that moreness, and I'm just so powerful. Elisa says alignment. Yes, noble words vibrate your power. To align with these conceptions. Yes. Maida, I'm remembering to say your name right. Maida says, conceptions equal constellations. Yes, Maida, yes. What a beautiful way to say it. What a beautiful way. Janet, I was so thrilled that you're here, Janet. I'm very, very happy that you're able to make it. This is really cool. Really, really cool. Rick says, Akona, excellent. Okay, not sure what that means, Rick, but you'll have to explain to him a minute later. So yeah, I'm glad that Sue was here too, Susan. Too brilliant. I really am enthralled, absolutely enthralled and overwhelmed, and I have to be careful not to tap into it too much, otherwise I will get emotional at everybody showing up. This is absolutely huge. It means a lot, people. It means a lot. And like I said, I really want people to be connected, however peripherally, because ongoing, this is a big deal that's going to be sharing. So Elaine says, when I see how much I've grown and listen to my story, it's very different compared to when I was stuck and lost. Exactly. The world you were in when you were stuck and lost how you thought the world worked. It's not the way the world works at all. Now that you see, you can get out of that. And this is absolutely key to anybody learning to shift. Now, it's not just shifting out of being lost and stuck or being in trauma. It's also when we get to a point where, hey, everything's pretty okay and fine and well. There's more people. That's the point of what I'm sharing. The whole story is to say, wow, I never even thought of maybe a world like this. I never thought to live in a culture that revolves around nobleness. See? Moreness, 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 Moreness. Oh, Akona. Oh, okay. I love it. I'm dense. I'm dense. Sorry, what can I tell you? Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lisa, I'm so thrilled you're here too. Beautiful art. Lisa, so many beautiful people. It's too awesome. Too awesome. All right, wonderful. Let's get back to the sharing. Yeah. So much moreness, so much moreness. I'm overwhelmed. Oh, we get there. We get there. We get there. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So again, I'm just sharing these repeat backs. I'm not going to read them because they are there just in case anybody is going through, wants to see them when they go through the replay. And then you can just pause the video and read them on your own time, right? The New Nobles and the Biella series is about sophisticated goodness, a new practical culture, and new ways of living and new ways of being shown in a utopian setting. Those new ways of living, those new ways of being, this is absolutely crucial. This is what I want to communicate. Not that you have to follow that particular way of being, but that there are new and other ways of being. This is the key, right? I'm going to emphasize this over and over because our default paradigm says, oh, sure, I don't want to be following Soul and doing his stuff and all that. I'm not looking for followers, people, please. And anybody you share this with, no, I'm sharing. And what I am looking for, and through inclusivity and involvement, is where you can cultivate and celebrate and grow your own new ways of living and ways of being, using the tools that I'll be sharing. Yes. Now, when you build a house, you use a hammer. Right? I might show you how to use the hammer, but you build your own house. I'll show you how to use the hammer and the saw and the screwdriver, but that doesn't make you need to build my house. No. See, so all of what I'm doing is sharing the tools. You can build your own house, right? And I might share some examples of houses that I'm building to show you what can be done. But that doesn't mean you have to copy that, right? You can if you want to, of course, but you can all live in the same house, whatever. Anyway, an implementation of a comprehensive, practical, personal philosophy and new ways of living in circumstances and environments we might love to be in, an exploration in a fictional setting of such new ways of being. The pursuit of noble ideals is a profound aspiration, one we'll make every effort to fully implement in our moment-to-moment living and being. That last sentence is a very big deal, and again, what I'm all about. The pursuit of noble ideals. Now, I'm going to be sharing the noble ideal as I define it, but I do feel each and every person that I know that's here has noble ideals, whether they realize it, recognize it, express it, communicate it, write it down, and are conscious of it or not. They have them, right? And I'm saying this quite emphatically because I see it in you. You may say, what do you mean? I don't think I have them. Well, if you have an extended chat to you, I'll be happy to demonstrate to you what I see. And you might say, oh, I didn't even realize I knew it. Okay. It happens sometimes, right? Or happen, I don't even realize that I had them. But that's how we are sometimes. We have stuff that goes around in us that we aren't necessarily conscious and fully aware of. And that's what I'm hoping to create an environment where the environment will elicit that moreness that's already there, and particularly those noble ideals, because I feel you all have them. Yes, Anna, I'm looking at you. You just happen to be on my screen here at the end there. Anna's looking very studious, but yes, particularly. See, Anna's a good example of this, right? I mean, she's just showing on my screen here that I can see her, but anybody who is...
I'm painting.
Oh, wonderful.
It
Wonderful,
helped me
wonderful.
listen better.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is absolutely appropriately ideal. This is fantastic. But I'm just saying, I'll use Anna as an example of you can just, if you know Anna even a little bit, you can say, wow, you know what? Yes, noble ideals. I'm sure Anna has a lot of them. She might not express them or even be fully conscious or aware of them, but they're there. It's very obvious in Anna. Yes? Is it just me that sees it? But that's the way I see things, right? Anna, all of you. I'm just, like I
No,
said, you
I
just happen
see
to
it
be on
too.
my screen, Anna. So you just my guinea pig, yeah.
Thank you,
Because
Sil. Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah. I mean, it's all I see on my little bar across. Because what I do with Zoom is I drag it smaller so that I can, see both. So I just have you and Bina and Anthony, but Anthony put his video off, so I could use Anthony for the example right there, and I don't want to use Bina always as the example. All right, so this noble ideal, this is a big deal. This is a very big deal, and the idea, just that concept. Wow, I put that on my dictionary of power there, right, Gabriel? Noble ideal. Wow, wow. Just this idea of having a noble ideal, and to elucidate to myself what my noble ideals are, what comprises my noble ideal. Just this idea of even doing that is a very, very, very big and profound deal, is it not? Just the awareness of this concept is a big deal. That
It is
alone,
very much so. So really quick,
huge.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt,
Please,
but
no problem, no
it
problem.
is
Go ahead.
it is very crucial, to be honest with you. Well, no, wait, sorry, that was my lack of paying attention to my words.
Brilliant,
I
brilliant,
caught myself.
brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Yes.
But no, the thing is that it's crucial. It's very, in my own personal experience, I learned the difference between, how the old of me, how I believed what noble was, and how the new of me believes what noble is. And it's my own beliefs based on facts and based on, not something that um is something I was taught, and how to be a noble person. It you don't have to be no, it doesn't necessarily mean you do something extra that you normally, you
Yeah.
quote unquote society would say, oh well, you shouldn't have to do that. Well,
Yeah.
I don't care whether I should or should not. That's not the question. It's
Exactly.
whether I want to and how it makes me feel. And when Bina said, it's also within feelings, at first, when I first heard that, so like, I was like, feelings? Whoa, no, we are not touching on feelings. And then when I
Yeah.
started working on the way of impeccability and, things like that, I was like, okay, well, feelings aren't so bad. Like they're actually
Yes.
really good. And, the communication with yourself as well as, first and foremost is how you're going to also be able to communicate with others.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
really, really imperative and crucial that any
Yes.
sort of communication that happens, first and foremost, has to happen with yourself.
Yes. Yes. Would you say,
So
oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I say, would you say it started with acceptance of moreness, the concept,
It
right? And
did.
then it extends, of course, if there's moreness. Bye-bye, Anthony. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. I'm so pleased you were here, Anthony. I was hoping to hear more from you, but okay, Anthony had to go. So all good. But, first acceptance of the concept of moreness. And then once you accept moreness itself as a potential, as a possibility, then you can extend it to saying, oh, if I can accept moreness just out there, I can accept moreness in here. And when you did that, Jessica, that's when you exploded, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted to, comment on the, just being a noble person and accepting your remorse. It really starts with
Yes.
you first. And then
Yes.
it
This
goes.
Yes.
this is so
Yes.
crucial.
Yes. It is. It is. And Jessica, I want to touch on something that Cher said, because you said something very important that's very key here. Acceptance of me as a noble person. Now, for me, personally, and Cher said this, she said, man, I even feel uncomfortable saying that. And I agree. I don't think that I anywhere close to what I'm going to be representing in my story And even to say that I aspire to this, it presses on my modesty and my humility. But I have to acknowledge also that it is something that I do deeply want in me. Yes. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm an aspirant on this path. And when we have a profound, noble, sublime path, it doesn't matter whether we get there. It matters that we're on the path to there. Yes.
Yes,
That
it
draw
does.
is enough. That draw is enough. Donna, you were nodding over there, and sounds like you had something. No? Yes? No? Okay. Anyway, you share if you do. I always love hearing from you, Donna, as you know. As you know. But again, right, I just want to make this very clear that in my story, yes, I'm talking about the new nobles, but from me and the environment which I'm sharing, right, the Zooms, in other words, and the lives, yeah, it is about aspiring to get there, because to get to where the end point, there's a lot that needs to be learned and acquired and practiced and implemented and self-proven and made our own, etc., etc. I mean, the list is very long, right? So there's a lot of things to do to get there, but this is a worthy aspiration, a worthy goal. Yeah.
But
And
it's
again,
also exciting.
exactly, it's profoundly exciting. It's invigorating, not just exciting. It's invigorating, and that's powerful. It's motivating. It enthuses us, and that's what I'm hoping to share. That here is something that grabs our imagination, that pulls us. How we get to there, we don't have to get to the exact same end. It doesn't matter. We're being pulled towards something. Take John and John's ventureness, right? His adventure. So John is the same thing, but he's got a particular niche. You know, in being a artist, Anna, it's a niche, right? Doesn't matter in our daily work, like Jessica, you in the daily interaction with your customers, you are profoundly bringing moreness every single day. It doesn't matter what you do. It's not your specific doings that matter. It's your specific being of you that matters. This is my communication, right? So it's about being. Yeah. We're going to be this moreness, at least more and more and more. But also remember the key point, we are already enough, but we are also more. Yeah, both together.
One
Very
plus
key.
one equals more.
That's collaboration. Exactly. That's the collaboration that we want. We want to create an environment in which we are going to cue this moreness in each other. We are going to cue profoundness. We are going to cue the sublime. We're going to cue grace. We're going to cue discernment, understanding, awareness, right? It's an environment in which all of that is appropriate. Now, tell me, in this environment that we're sharing, and as we read the story, you tell me if irritation and annoyance is appropriate. No, you'll see it's not. See, so we create an environment where things like that are unthinkable. And comparison, for me to say, oh, you know what, I'm better, it's unthinkable, right? I cannot possibly compare myself to anybody. It's
That
just
was
not.
my first initial question, was like, how can one get, like, how would that even be possible to be
Exactly.
irritated or annoyed with
Exactly.
it?
That's
It's
the point,
not,
though.
it's not
Right.
possible.
This is what changing the paradigm is all about. In the superiority paradigm, it's expected to be irritated or annoyed when somebody wrongs you or whatever, right? I mean, that whole logic, it has its consequences. It's a whole system. But when you step outside of that and say, oh, we're in a different paradigm now. We're in the nobility paradigm, in the moreness paradigm, whatever you want to call the paradigm. We can call it a play paradigm, for instance. A play paradigm is a fantastic paradigm, right? It's a collaborative paradigm rather than a competitive paradigm. Massive difference. So in this paradigm, these things are simply not possible because that thinking does not exist. We're throwing it out. We're going to shift it, right? So Amos is coming to join us. Fantastic. I love when new people join. Again, you don't have to be on Zoom. You know, many people are just in comments, and I love it. And I because I have the screen with the slides up, I'm not getting to see all the comments there. So Mary Apicos as well. Oh, this is too brilliant. Hello, Mary. Hello, Imosa. Imosa, am I saying your name correctly, by the way?
Yes, Emilce.
Emilsa.
Emilsa.
Oh, Emilsa. Oh, I love that. Oh, that accent is
Hello,
too
Mary.
wonderful. Hello, Mary. Ah, man.
Hello.
This is too wonderful. This is too
So
wonderful.
nice
You
to
know,
see you.
just to see those that I don't necessarily connect with on a very regular basis, but that you come. This is a big deal,
It's
and
so,
this is
so
huge. You exactly. It's about inclusivity, inclusivity. I want everyone to be included. Doesn't matter where. Because why? Because I recognize your pure hearts, your good hearts, your moreness. It's there. That's to me who is everybody who's got good hearts, which is you and you and you and you. Everyone who's here. This is who is included. Yes, it's absolutely crucial. And if you don't have a good heart, maybe if you get included, your heart will get better, right?
I think Anna know of both of them, but everybody for everybody else, these both are such an amazing people, and of course, such an amazing artist also. And we
Yes,
have
wonderful.
been. I was lucky to be part of the program with them. So yes,
Yes,
this is
yes.
so brilliant
Too brilliant.
to see you
Were
again.
you gonna say something, Mary?
I love your background
Oh.
because this is amazing. I am drawing right now. My drawings are monumental celestial globes. They're
Fantastic.
6 feet. They have. Wait, maybe I can show you a picture of. They
Please,
are.
please,
I
please.
don't know if you can see this.
We can.
Wow.
We
Oh, yes.
can.
Oh yes.
Okay,
Wow.
so these are life-size, almost life-size drawings set in celestial globe orbs.
Fantastic.
And
Fantastic.
I'm looking
Fantastic.
behind you. It's
Fantastic.
so cool.
Well, this background was very specifically and deliberately chosen with much thought, because I have tens of
Sure.
thousands of pictures and images that I've accumulated over the years as a result of massive big projects. But I specifically chose this one because it represents so much. It represents us. It represents the language of conceptuality. It represents moreness, interconnectivity. All of this, we are a constellation of collaboration. And through conceptuality, we can enhance that, right? We can strengthen those bonds and connections. And of course, later on, things like emphasis is going to come into it, right? This is your brain right there. And when you emphasize, you light up one of those little dots there and the pathways. And when you light one up, you increase the light on it. What happens to the ones around it? They all light up as well, right? That low extends some part. And that's what changes your brain. And so emphasis is critical. That's why language is so crucial. And those concepts, like Gabriel, when he was made that list, so crucial. You know, it's why it's called the dictionary of power. It changes things. So all of what we're sharing, there's a moreness on top of moreness on top of moreness, like Biela is so fond of saying, or at least there's always more, right? You'll see it comes into the story. It's a big deal. So I'm thrilled you guys are here. So I've been sharing, and of course this will be available on replay, but I want to continue with the introduction because there's so much that comes from it. There's so much that comes from it. So let's continue a little bit. So the story that I'm going to be sharing over the coming months, and likely because it's a capital R reading, it's probably going to take at least till the end of the year. We don't have to get to the end of it because it's not about getting to the end. It's about the sharing. And this is exactly what's coming here. The story is very much an anti-story in this, the tale. The entire series is written in the same way as Biela and the new nobility live, in response to life. It's written with an intent and aim to enjoy interaction with the characters of the story. A focus on the delights and joys of association, community, and communion with others in ways atypical. Right? This is a key point. This is a key point. It's not about action and all that. Yes, there is stuff that happens, but here is the celebration of being with the characters, right? And in ways that are atypical. Very, very important. In this case, the connection is skewed towards Biela, simply a happenstance of the story, right? I mean, there's a greater story, there's more. It's a series that has a pre-series, it has a prologue series, it has a sub-series, it has a bunch of series that are connected to this. This is part of a huge constellation, much like my background behind me, right? So it's not just one series, there's like half a dozen of them at least, and there's probably more going to come. It's a very big deal, in other words, right? It's been fleshed out. And so I want to share this, right? That we're looking to connect to the characters, to the way of being, to the understanding, to the conceptuality, to the associations, to to worlds that work in ways we don't necessarily think they do, right? And here's a quote from Insights of the New Nobility. The ability to set aside assumptions and preconceived ideas allows us to perceive unexpected treasures. Now, what a profound quote. And this is what I'm really trying to communicate all the time. Set aside what you think you know this is all about. Yes, I know I'm trying all the time to say, what is this all about? But it's very different. It's like me trying to use one word to explain what's behind me, each dot being a word. You can't. You have to perceive it. You have to experience it to get the fullness, right? Because there's so much more than I can say, this is what I'm doing. This is a constellation. It's a conglomeration and agglomeration. As you'll see, that's a very important term coming later. A little bit of foreshadowing there. We're going to be doing things like not only getting into understanding of Moreness, but for instance, just writing and literature and creation and creativity and art. I mean, you're going to be a little writing course, just bonus included, just by the by, right? But this ability to set aside assumptions and preconceived ideas allows us to perceive unexpected treasures. If there's just one thing you take away today, this quote is, man, those unexpected treasures, unbelievable, unbelievable. That's why it's from Insights of the New Nobility. And this going forward, you'll see I'm making quotes from all these. It's actually a work, right? Insights of the New Nobility. It's an actual work that has many entries into it, right? It's not just me making it up for the quote here. I've got a whole long list of them. They're called supplemental works, a couple of dozen of them. Yeah. So there's an extended universe attached to all of this. Worlds within worlds. Typical works of fiction have plots and villains. We read to find out what happens next. Superiority paradigm logic, right? The story is no different, yet it is very different. The villains are lack of awareness, ignorance, habits, complacency, ineffectiveness, joylessness, unconnectedness, lack of magic. Atypical villains, a nefarious gang of soul stealers nonetheless. Right? So they are villains, but they're very different types of villains, but they soul-stealing villains nonetheless. Yeah. So it's just important to understand that we are looking to do things a little differently. Yeah. And there'll be much doing things differently. Lots of it, lots of it. The excitement is partially in what happens next, as there is much that happens, but the action is a bonus, not the purpose. Focus is on what is revealed next, as in revealed to our awareness, what we learn next, what is elucidated next. The fun, the interest lies in discovering new and different ways of being, ways of living, unfamiliar, yet resonant with our deep self. Those new ways of being, those new ways of living. Again, it's not about me saying, hey, you, whoever's here, live in my way of living. No, it's about me saying, here are tools. Here's an environment where your new way of living can find space to explore itself, place to practice, which means practice is deliberately doing what you know isn't quite exactly what you want, right? This is what practice is. It's deliberately making those efforts to be you uncomfortable, awkward, it's not working right. You're going, you're no violent, right? This is practice, but we can do this with our new ways of being, with our new ways of living, with our new vocabulary, new awarenesses, new understandings, all of it. So yeah, you can be awkward, you can be uncomfortable, you can and ah and whatever. It's no problem, right? This is where it is acceptable and it will be heard. Capital H, hearing, which we'll get into at some point. It's a huge thing that I have. It's actually a big, massive, big program, but it's a key element to all of this. It's that simplified, simplistic listening. It's moreness listening also that Gabriel mentioned earlier, right? Very, very big point. So I'm just all the time sharing the underneath slides here, which are the repeat backs, just for those watching the replay who want to read that, right? Value lies in seeing our potential. Value lies in seeing our potential. A glimpse of who we really are. All of us possess goodness and nobility, honor and integrity. Impeccability of being is not a fantasy, but an attainable way of living, right? All of us possess goodness and nobility, honor and integrity. Impeccability of being is not a fantasy, but an attainable way of living. But we need the environment and circumstance to support new habits, new conceptions, new ideals. Nobilia and the culture of the new nobility, which is the focus of the story, is such an environment. Again, it's not saying you should follow this. Should is in my particular language. It's got that red circle with a red line through it. It's kind of a no word, right? I try to avoid it at all costs because should is so subversive, unfortunately, within the superiority paradigm. It is the most abused word out there, and it is really causes so much trouble, right? So again, you will never hear me advocating should. Never, ever, ever. I'm not ever saying to anybody, you should do this. No, I will present a list of choices, and it's totally intrinsic to the whole culture that I'm trying to share, this new paradigm, that it's about sharing options. Part of our nobility is to make options available. Sharing, 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 never telling, always sharing. Yes, absolutely key, right? So nothing that you should do this, should do. No, it's simply presenting a possibility of an alternative to give you ideas of, wow, that's kind of cool. Maybe, well, okay, this doesn't quite work with me, but maybe I'll do this, whatever. Like John and his whole adventure culture, right? Adventure is obviously a part of what I'm doing. It's a A+ term for me. It's a huge deal, right? So it's a big deal. It's a big deal, but we can be niche in all of this, right? In ourselves. Choose your niche. Choose your niche. Here's another nice quote here from the Wandering Noble. We might not have access to nobilia in actuality, but we certainly can live as if we're there. We can create our own personal nobilias within. Nobilia is an abstract representation, thus. That nobilia within, I call it nobilia living as a term for your dictionary of power with a hyphen, nobilia living. Rick, you want Moreness language? There you go. Nobilia living is exactly that. It is a representation of Moreness living, yes, of alternative, of you following your maximum, your Moreness, your profound goodness, your own profound intent to goodness applied, implemented. Very big deal. That nobilia within. Yes, it's a term. It's just a reference point. It doesn't have to be specifically nobilia. It's an abstract understanding, right? So nobilia living is a term I use to represent this Moreness interactivity, this interactivity of collaboration, of full acceptance, and particularly of the celebration of difference. And I always emphasize that word celebration, not just acknowledgement and acceptance and tolerance of difference. No, that's not enough. Got to celebrate it, right? And I celebrate all of your difference here. It's a profound deal. This series is not a story that has spirituality, philosophy, and psychology in it as an adjunct to the story. It's the other way around. The Biala series is an application of a comprehensive worldview, the implementation of an encompassing practical philosophy. It's showing instead of telling. This extensive and thorough conception of ways of living and being. Showing, not telling. I never ever want to be telling. If you find me telling, please let me know so I can change it. If written as a non-fiction work, it would lack demonstration and application. As Biala is fond of saying, without application, it's all meaningless. That's why it's written in this world. It's to show it applied. Yes, not because it's looking for you to follow it. And no, it's looking to show that it is potentially plausible and viable. And when we really do see, oh, it really is. That means my personal nobilia, whatever I'm going to call it, yes, this is also viable, right? So you may wish to join that or not, but it's all about choice, all about choice. The entire philosophy of the new nobility that we're going to new nobles, it's always all about choice, because awareness is intrinsic and endemic and connected and fully associated with choice. It's kind of one and the same thing. You can't really have real awareness without choice. This is not possible, right? Awareness has to be chosen. Can't program awareness, can't give it, right? It has to come by a choice, deliberate. Yeah. The intent is to provide an opportunity to hang out, be with, and otherwise live and interact with characters who we love and enjoy. The tough, gritty action hero is not necessarily someone we wish to live with. We might enjoy watching those movies, but we don't want to live with that person. The characters in the Biela series are people we might wish to live with and have our friends and commune with and be part of our community. Yes, to us, they are those who wish to be with, where I can just be like a tree and be capable of being ourselves. Again, to be like a tree. A tree doesn't have to do anything. It's profound and magical and awesome. And it just bees. That's all it does, right? A tree is being. Yes, you could say, okay, it produces seeds and flowers and whatever, but still, for the most part, a tree is being, and through its being, it adds profoundly, sublimely to the world. Yes. So this in for the new nobility, tree is a verb, by the way. We'll get into it later on. It's a very big deal. The main characters, particularly, have the specific focus of showing perspectives and ways of being from the vantage point of somebody who is already where we, potentially, in some ways at least, wish to be. We know, sometimes with an agonizing, acute awareness of self, what we don't want to be. But how often do we get an example of somebody who is where we wish to be, an idealized version of ourselves that is at the same token realistic? Yes, and such is the main characters, particularly Biela, right? She's an absolute representation of somebody who's gotten to where we wish to be. And hopefully I've succeeded in demonstrating Biela as being realistic, not totally out there, impossible, just idealized, because you're going to see things from inside Biela. You're going to get to hear her thinking, her logic, her rationale, right? And this is very key. It's a major part of the story. However, replacement is the theme and focus of the Biela series, of what's going to be shared coming forward, to show how to be from the other side, from inside somebody that does have it figured out, who does have their stuff together, as Ursula might say. She might say it a little bit more roughly than that, potentially. Okay, well, we'll make it nice for you, Ursula. Ursula is a very cool character. I love Ursula. Replacement is my theme and focus. How to be from the other side, from inside someone who does have it figured out, who does have their SHT together, the young man. Right? So this is very key, and because so many times I've seen stories, and particularly in self-help, self-awareness, self-improvement, where you get an idealized character, but you're seeing it from the apprentice's point of view or the student's point of view. I don't always know how valid, how realistic that internalness of the ideal person is, right? Because it's not demonstrated, it's not shown. It's just shown from the perspective of somebody who's looking at it from the outside, who doesn't quite know what it is. I wanted to show it from the inside of somebody who does have it figured out, so that I can demonstrate its validity, right? Demonstrate and prove its validity, not just that I have to assume it's valid because, well, it seems to be cool, it seems to be great, seems to be awesome. No, seems to be. I want to demonstrate it. It's a very key point, very, very key point. Massive, massive key point, right? I want to show this, show, right? So that we can say, I see how the logic works. I see how the rationale works. I see how it makes sense. When I think it through, oh, okay. I can now, thinking it through to the end, I make it my own. I do not need to believe. Once I've made it my own, I can go and apply it and practice it. Then I get self-proof. Now it's locked in. Now it becomes intrinsic to me. And now I have it at my command. I am it. Now it's part of my being. This is the point and purpose of all of this. Not to taking on beliefs and ideals from somebody else. No, to take it and make it your own, and that you can go and apply it and then overcome it. Yes, have that self-proof. This is a massive, massive, massive part of what I'm doing. And I keep emphasizing this point, that it's not about following me or subscribing to what I'm saying. No, it is simply gathering the tools, the awareness, the discernment, the understanding, which leads to application, which you then choose for yourself how you are going to treat. Okay, Jessica. Okay, I'm so thrilled that you were here, Jessica. And I know you'll watch the replay, and I love it. And I look forward to some takeaways from you, since Jessica's an ongoing participant here in Way of Impeccability. This will just be your task. Do a nice, profound takeaway from this. Yeah, that'd be very cool. That'd be very cool. I'll leverage her a little bit. I love it. Love it. All right. Bye-bye, Jessica. Bye-bye. To continue. To continue. There's not much more. The perspective from the inside of the one we are learning from or aspire to be is rare. To quote a relevant understanding, in my extensive reading, searching, questioning, I was never sure if the internal application, coherence, and understanding of these types of characters was real, or if it was simply the hopeful idea of the perceiver or author. We wish to demonstrate this capacity to be more as real. This we also want. We want it to be real. We don't want to just have to believe that it might be real. We want to know that it can be, and therefore we will need that demonstration, right? So it's to demonstrate this capacity to be more as real. This is very, very crucial, very, very key. This demonstration, so that you have the tools to make your own moreness, not mine, not anybody else's, your own. Reading the Biala series thus requires a particular frame of perception. The point is not to get to the end. No, that's not the point of reading the series. The process of experiencing joy in the moment through the journey of reading the story, this is the goal. The idea is to imbibe, very crucially chosen word, is to imbibe and absorb, contemplate and consider, discuss and reflect. Hopefully, as participants in the story, not and yeah, and this might be participants if you're doing the program, but participants in the story will come to live in our own personal version of Nobilia, become part of the new nobility as we define such. This is our intent and goal, the sharing of new ways of living, right? And it's all about you, the individual, acquiring and accumulating and taking on what is important and matters to you. We don't always know what that can be because we haven't had exposure to it. Yes, because we believe we know what there is in the world. So this is about exposing us to moreness that we never even imagined or thought of. And say, wow, I never read that. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I better add that to myself, right? So this is very key because we get so, unfortunately, we lose out so much by default because we assume what the default is all there is to it. But no, there's more. There's always more. I'm going to read some from the Sophie story. It's a very profound quote. It's a 2-slide quote. This story is going to feature, it comes up a couple of times because it's a snippet that exemplifies so much. Sophie says, but I know little. I also know I am more. One thing I am not going to do is be influenced by the philosopher. Nope. That's why I am Sophie the Sophisticated. I will not be influenced. However, I cannot be blind to the moreness the philosopher promises. Now, I'm going to be receptive, capital R, receptive. I'm going to take for granted what the philosopher has to share. Does make sense. Sophie is emphatic, liking and understanding emphasis. The story is called Sophie and the Philosopher, by the way. Sophie continues, she says, I'm going to be open to seeing sense beyond what I can see now. I know my imagination is limited. I know my knowledge is limited. I'm going to trust the philosopher makes sense. I'm going to trust without trusting. I'm going to trust it makes sense. But this does not mean I'm Sophie the Sophisticated. That just because it does make sense, it does not mean I have to be influenced. No, I do not have to be. I can choose to be. Not only can I choose to, but I have to. I have to choose to decide whether or not I wish to take on what I know. So I am never influenced. So it's always my choice what I absorb, what I make my own. Even if it might be all of it, doesn't matter. Always it needs to be a choice, a capital C choice. Always. This is Sophie's sophistication, her profound receptivity. She is never influenced. She always does maintain her independence of being. Yet, she changes profoundly at the same time. What a magical story. From Sophie and the Philosopher. It's a very magical story, yes. Very magical indeed. There was repeat backs on this as well. And this is really key. This is really, really, really key. A very, very big point here. This not being influenced, but being completely open, being completely receptive. So now we get to the end here, and this is if you're doing this as a course, and I'll just go through this right for those who wish to see it. And wish to do. If you want to, you're more than welcome. Of course, doing it fully would mean doing repeat backs and takeaways and coming on Zoom, dictionary of power, tasks and exercises, sharing it out. There's a lot. There's like nine tasks of doing involved in doing. But again, this is not my point and purpose here. It's a choice, certainly, that's open to people, but not why I'm doing this. This is purely just sharing for the love of goodness, right? But again, it's helpful to go through this and see, because there's a greater intent to it, right? And you'll see the moreness involved, right? There's 3 of these here. So process as Sophie would, with maximum receptivity, insisting everything does make sense as a give, in order to be open to how it does, right? This is key. We want to know how it makes sense. I don't want to just accept that it makes sense. Once the understandings, the sensibility and profoundness is extracted via the application of receptivity, then a decision can be made as to how you wish to use and apply. Make sure to apply patience and trust, to make a point of waiting for the understanding to come. They will. The understandings to come. They will. Very big point, right? To have that openness, right? And that's just tasks and exercises here. Brilliant. So there's a lot of moreness involved. And as we go through this over the coming months of sharing this, and I hope you guys will come every now and then. Again, you don't have to come every week. It's totally not necessary. Every now and then is fine. The fact that you may miss some of the stories totally doesn't matter, because each time it's going to be a little snippet, and the moreness will be revealed in that whatever snippet it is. It doesn't matter. The continuity is not crucial, right? I mean, if you really do say, well, I need to know what happened before. Okay, go and watch the replay, what came before. But the sharing, the capital R, reading, the discussion, this is the key to it. This is the key to it. Yes. Emosa, you look like you've got the thought that's bubbling inside there. Let's hear what you're thinking, please.
Hi.
Say your name again. Say your name again, please.
Emilce.
Emilce. There we go.
Yeah.
Emilce.
Yeah.
Emilce.
Oh,
Please
well, what do I share? Yeah, so I'm listening to you, and I'm sort of trying to capture the essence of what your intention is in sharing nobility, which
That's
is amazing. That's a beautiful word. Yes.
That's my intent, is to share nobility and nobleness. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and as receptive as we might be to your offering. So that is the question mark, as you say it, how profoundly what do we want to, or do we engage, I mean.
Yes, exactly.
And things come sometimes at the right moment, so it's like, I thought I had missed the meeting, but then I realized, oh no, it's now because of the time.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And I had a little interruption, but anyway, I'm going to go through that again. But no, very interesting, really. And all my respects to you and to your collaborators.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, what I'm offering is an opportunity to simply be in an environment where you can exercise, implement, practice your own moreness, your own path to nobility. Yes, because it's a path to nobility. Yes, we have nobleness in us, but we need to learn to exercise it, implement it, and grow, and all of this. So this is an opportunity where there's an environment where we can practice it. Yes, Bina?
Yes, because this is the question. Because when you share so much and it comes out in a way that okay, it's all about nobility, but what as a person, as a new person, what I'm going to
Ah.
get. So the basic, the foundation first, because at least in my experience, it was what I got, because that was the question some people asked me also, what you got out of the way of impeccability? And the first response, the very true from my heart, was peace of being. And this is what I got because I feel super comfortable in my own skin. I said, okay, this is who I am. And I start acknowledging myself. But the second
Exactly.
step, when I start doing the Moreness project, it was just going even beyond my own expectation from myself.
Yeah.
First, I got satisfied with who I am. Okay, yes, this is what I can do, what I want to do. But then when I started the Moreness project, it was like now my own expectations were like way behind me because everything is or
Yeah.
anything can come to you. And
Yeah.
it was like, okay, I can perceive my feelings more. I can perceive the energy around me and more. I can communicate not only with other people, with myself more. And
Yeah.
this is the real essence of this. Not to
Yes.
do with anything like, okay, ambition, I will become like this and that, nothing. It's just to have that openness towards my own thing, towards my
Exactly.
own self.
Exactly.
And that was
Exactly.
really brilliant because this is something really,
Exactly.
really rare. And of
Exactly.
course, it was an opportunity I got to
Yeah.
get more than what I was expecting from myself. So it
Exactly.
is not just piece
Exactly.
of being. Now it is going a step forward, and they
Yes.
are saying that okay, to get more
Yes.
out of life
Yes.
and to of course
Yes.
receive,
Yes.
especially about
Yes.
feelings, about
Yes.
energy. This is
Yes.
so brilliant for that. So
Yes.
yes,
And
I was thank you for giving me this opportunity because
oh,
this is the common language. I was like, okay, yes, I want to jump in. I want to share that. Okay, what
please,
I got
please,
from
please.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To follow on what Imose, you used a powerful word, offering. I'm offering an environment. I'm offering freedom. There's no necessary to subscribe to anything, to adhere to anything, to follow anything. I'm simply offering an environment where we are going to explore options, potentialities, and particularly alternatives to the prevailing superiority paradigm. I really am keen to say, hey, we do not need to actually be caught up in that. We want to develop our own language, alternative, and it's not set, right? We're going to create this ourselves. It's an environment that is other. That's the key.
Could we
That's what I'm
say
offering.
a call to authenticity?
Exactly.
Probably.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And moreness, not just authenticity. Authenticity is a part of it, but I want to go beyond being, because I can be authentic within the superiority paradigm and still be severely limited because it's just a bubble, right? I want
Right.
to say, I want to go beyond this bubble. I want to explore, right? It's like leaving Earth and going into space. Yeah. So it's this opportunity to be part of an alternative environment of moreness, of otherness, of exploration, of adventure. Yes, John, and I'm keen to hear from you as well, John. But see what I'm
So
offering.
I would
It's an
say
environment.
a phrase in Spanish, like that I could apply to myself, quiero más.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
wanting more of it.
Exactly. Exactly. And not just wanting, but actually making that effort to grasp it, to apply it, to practice it, to implement it. Because whenever you acquire some moreness, it's always awkward at first. It's a little difficult to apply, right? So you need that space where you can be a bit awkward or uncomfortable as necessary while you're practicing, right? While you're exploring, while you're figuring it out. That's what I'm offering, this environment for the exploration, the practice, the implementation of moreness. Whatever you may define moreness to be, it doesn't matter. Nobility is simply an example of something that's potentially a moreness path, but only potentially. I'm not saying that we have to do this. Pleasure, Mary. Please say goodbye. Yeah, you don't have to go so quick. Yeah.
I
Okay.
have to go. Bye-bye.
No worries. No worries. I just want to hear your
Thank
voice
you.
and see you. And just
Hope to see
wonderful.
you
So,
again, Mary.
yes,
Love you,
very
dear,
much
by the
so.
way.
Very much so. Very
Love you,
much so.
dear.
Yes. Yeah. So wonderful. So wonderful. So this is very powerful what you said, Imosa, because it's hard to communicate because we're so in the default that we are in our paradigm. What does he want? What is he getting out of this? This is a pure act of giving on my part. End of story.
Thank you.
There's no ulterior motive, nothing. Of course, you can if you want to, but that's not why I'm doing this. I'm simply doing it to share it and put it out there and have an environment of collaboration, particularly capital C collaboration, where 1 + 1 + 1 equals more. This free environment where we can share and interact and grow. And I'm going to use the story as the core. It is something that always connects to it, right? Because if you just do it kind of and you don't have an agenda, then it's a little bit messy and it's all over the show. So we have this connectivity and the story as an exemplification, an example in action, in practice of what potentially could be. Right? And this is very key. So when we see that, wow, and it brings new ideas, new thoughts, new conceptions continually being brought. There's a lot of layeredness, a lot of depth to the story. So of course, doing a capital R reading, that's what capital R readings are about, is exploring and connecting to that layeredness and that depth, right? And that's a very powerful thing to do, because in that, we get to open our own selves to see, oh, wow, I never realized I had this in me, but I do. We have
I
so much
appreciate
more.
that. Thank you so much. And also,
Pleasure,
Bina,
pleasure.
I appreciate your presence too. I used to
Yes.
look at it when we were at the course, in the course, you know,
Yes.
the art
Apis.
course.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, beautiful chemistry,
Yes.
beautiful alchemy, actually. And I love
Yes.
your work, your photography,
Yes.
whatever you are posting there. So it's a
Yes.
plus, and that is also a gift. And
Yes.
I get to
Yes.
discover the other ones, members,
Exactly.
eventually.
Yes.
So it's beautiful. Thank you, all of
Exactly.
you,
Thank
for
you.
the
Exactly.
sharing.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you so
Exactly.
much. I just learned a lot from you guys. That was so beautiful. I still
Yeah.
remember your studio when you were sharing. So your
Yes.
paintings there, and when we were looking at it, so that was so beautiful.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Norma
same for
says she
Mary.
needs.
Yes.
Sorry. I want to hear from you, John. If you have anything to share, please. But I just want to go through the comments because I've been reading, so I haven't been able to see the comments. Oh, I'm behind on the comments.
John's camera actually is not working, so
That's okay, as long as his
yes.
mic's working. But Norma says
Yeah.
she needs more info on replacement.
Yes, she said that
capital.
when you were sharing. Yes.
Yeah. So Norma, the whole story is an example, not a should, an example of a possible potential replacement way of being. We're going to see this with Biella as the character. We're going to see how she does things, how she connects, her motivations, her intents, what stimulates her, what fuels her, how she goes about doing things. And we say, wow, that's kind of a different way of doing things. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have to use the usual ways of being. There's alternative ways of being I can replace with that, right? So the entire story, Biella, the group, everybody, it's all about exemplifying and showing these replacement ways of being, right? So a replacement way of being is to, like I said, take irritation and annoyance right out of your vocabulary way of being and say, no, in this environment, this is just not appropriate. What am I going to replace it with? I'm going to replace it with thoughtfulness. I'm going to replace it with assessing motivation, right? Saying, wow, man, whatever so-and-so just said or did, it's like, man, what on earth? I don't get it. I don't get it. But instead of being irritated, annoyed, or assuming they were being nonsensical, I'm going to replace it with an assumption of good intent as a start to what Sophie does, right? I'm going to assume their behavior makes sense. I'm just not seeing how just yet. See, that's a grand replacement. I mean, there's a lot to what I'm just saying now. I'm just touching very briefly here, but this is one potential example of replacement, right? And a replacement is not to evaluate somebody in terms of, oh, what can they do for me? That superiority paradigm. You meet somebody and, hello, how are you? What can you do for me? That might as well be said, right? But in Nobilia, it is, hello, how are you? What magic, awesome difference you have. I'm celebrating a difference. A whole shift. I'm not looking at what you can do for me. I'm not even looking to say, what is your awesomeness, your moreness? I'm just looking to celebrate your difference. I'm not asking anything of you. I'm just celebrating you, right? You don't have to do anything. It's a completely different paradigm of replacement, right? This word paradigm, look it up if it's not one that connects, not you, Norma, but just anybody, right? Listening out there. This is a very potent thing. This is very, very potent thing. So replacement, we are going to look at profound replacements.
Okay.
Profound.
Bye, Anna. Anna has to go, Sil, and she's saying that.
Okay.
Sorry, I have
And
to prepare
Anka,
for my prepare for my event in an hour.
Oh, that's right. The Woodles.
you,
We're
thank
gonna
you,
we're gonna
Thank
try
you.
and come.
Thank you,
Yes,
Anna.
yes,
Lovely
yes,
to meet
yes.
all of you.
Yes.
I want to hear more from you also, Anna, at some other time, not now.
Yes.
I want
Yes,
to
we are
hear.
keen.
I want to hear. Yeah, very
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Yes. Bye bye, Anna. And Anka
Okay.
was here since we got the A's. Wonderful. I'm really
Yes.
grateful that you here and
Okay,
really thrilled.
so we can end the live here, and then of course you can respond to people, and because
Okay, I'll just give it a little bit more. So Emilsa is also still here. I think everybody's dropped off now, but that's good. We will end
Donna
soon.
is
But
here.
okay,
Yeah,
Donna,
Donna is
please.
here. Ryan is here. John is
Ah,
here. So
yeah.
yes.
So John, if you have a moment, I'm keen to hear any
Yes,
thoughts,
John
any
is
perspectives.
responding via chat, and he says
Oh, I
that
see.
yes, I got
Okay.
a lot. So this is something, yes. So
Okay.
we,
All right.
we
Good.
just have to
Donna,
share.
anything to share, Donna, please? Or not? That's fine. And no pressure. No pressure, Donna. Okay, maybe a little bit of pressure.
Okay, maybe a little. You're so
Maybe a
cute.
little, because I love hearing from you, Donna. I love you.
Oh, it was just very good to see and hear and get connected again.
Oh,
So
thank you.
looking
Thank you.
forward to the journey.
Yes, good, good, good. And Ryan, anything to share again too? I'm really thrilled you're here, Ryan. And like Donna says, to be a part of the journey. That's all I'm asking. Be a part of the journey, however peripherally, however now and then, doesn't matter. However loosely you connected. There's no point on this sphere behind me that is not connected to everything else. Once you connected, you connected. See, so even if you just every now and then maintain it, you have that because it's all connected, right? So this is very key. Janelle, I'm listening. I'm listening, Janelle. What is your
Well,
what is your
this is for Ryan and I. Yeah, we're I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, what's your heart saying, Janelle? I want to hear your heart. Tell her.
Well, as Donna was saying, my heart is saying I'm very happy to be connected, reconnected, because that's very important.
Yes.
And Ryan resonates with that as well.
Too wonderful. Too wonderful.
It's very important to us. And just the word leverage keeps getting brought to mind. I keep hearing that. And leverage of moreness is what we're doing today.
Exactly. And ongoing. Emilsa, this is just to answer. You asked such a profound question. What am I offering? I'm offering opportunity and scope. Hey, baby. Where we can leverage our moreness. Exactly. Very beautifully said. Thank you, Janelle. That's why I wanted to hear from you, see, because you're bringing up such a powerful point. Emilsa, you see, you brought up something so powerful. This ability to leverage our moreness. Janelle has just incredibly magical children. Oh, sorry, not just Janelle, Ryan also. Yeah, Ryan, yeah, you are but responsible. Yeah, Ryan, you're part of it. Auntie's right of it. Auntie's right. Yeah, the two of them have fantastic children. It's, you see their moreness through their children. I might, Donna, Lisa says, can I post a direct link to the Biala story also? I'll contemplate this. I might, but I sort of, when I post every time, this will be the story. But I might do so. I might do so. Yes. All right. So a pleasure, Elaine, to see you there. I'm just going through the comments. Please share, everybody, while I go through this. Please go ahead.
Here's Ryan. He wanted to say something.
Oh, brilliant. Let's hear Ryan. Let's hear.
Hello.
Hey, Ryan. Hello.
Yeah. So right when you came on, I picked up right away. The first thing you said was all the people that you invited today were good, were inherently good. And we all have the potential to be more.
Exactly.
Capital M more, just like
it's
you said,
already in you.
Yes.
Let me just pause you there 1 second, Ryan. This is a very important distinction for me. I don't see as moreness as a potential, Ryan. Right. Ryan, I see moreness in you and Janelle and Emilsa and Donna and everybody who's here, right? I see it as an actuality, not as a potential. It's already in you. It's not about learning the moreness. It's about uncovering the moreness, right, Donna?
Being moreness.
It's uncovering it. It's just removing the
Yes.
obstructions. It's already
Choosing
there.
to be more, right?
It's already there. It's already
Already there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it
Right,
is.
right.
That's good.
Fantastic. I have to go. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I will reconnect
Pleasure.
and
Pleasure.
all
Pleasure.
the best
We
to
will.
all of you. Thank you
Emilsa,
so much.
Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
that
you,
you were here.
Emilsa.
I love that you were here. It really makes me super happy. You know, I wasn't expecting because, you know, we don't connect generally much, but I hope we do
Yeah.
connect more because I see that moreness that's there already. And
Yeah.
now this is what I'm offering, a chance for it to come out. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
See
Bye
you
bye.
soon,
Bye bye.
all of you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Oh, I'm loving the comments here. I'm absolutely loving the comments. All right. John, or anybody else want to share anything? Otherwise, I will end so that I can because I want to
Yes,
attend
just
Anna's
yeah,
thing there.
yes.
Go ahead,
So
John.
just want to
Ryan, you're
share
going to say
before.
more.
Okay, sorry, before Ryan will continue, of course, because I have to also go. This whole project of Moreness after Way of Impeccability is actually like really designed in a way that, okay, first you get into something, you step onto something, you build your foundation, and then you start growing something,
Yes.
creating, building out of it.
Yes.
Still always say that, okay, yes, the Moreness is inherent and it is already there. For me,
Yeah.
of course, because it is like you were dumping a lot of stuff from reading memes on internet, reading books, watching videos, listening to people, and everything is just dumping in the warehouse. But nothing was connected, nothing was organized, and now the Way of Impeccability and the Moreness project just make the connection. Everything gets organized. The triple Virgo really all play there, and then of course when things are organized, we can access them as per our requirement, as per our needs. When things are not organized in any place, in our house, in our office, in our wardrobe, in our cupboard, in our drawer, we cannot get it.
Yes.
So connectivity is actually organizing our own moreness and our own thoughts and perspectives. And this is how we make them accessible to us. It was there, but we were not able to find that. So this is something truly, truly amazing for me. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Ryan, and Jeanette.
And before we go, because
yes.
Oh, I just said I interrupted Ryan. I don't want to go before Ryan gets a chance to finish. It just
No,
was such
I'm
a
going
crucial
to listen.
point that you brought up, Ryan. You know, and the distinction between potential moreness and inherent, actual, yet to be uncovered moreness. This is a massive, massive difference, right? Very important difference. Yes, Ryan?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Cool. What else? What else were you going to say?
Oh, just yeah, being more and being appropriate.
Exactly. Exactly.
And using the leverage of appropriateness.
Exactly.
I think
exactly.
That's one thing I'm learning.
The whole story is precisely about leveraging appropriateness. Thank you, Ryan. That is a massively wonderful point to end on. That is absolutely fantastic. Donna, anybody else want to share before we go? All good? I love it. I love it. Just love you all. Absolutely. You know, my heart is like, I don't know, it's like behind me there. It's just going to explode. It's too fantastic. And thank you to everybody who came today. Really, I really appreciate it because I did put out and I did make those personal invitations. And it's not only for today. This is ongoing. Every Sunday, this time it's going to be here, and you don't have to come every single time. Totally doesn't matter. You can come once a month, whatever. It doesn't matter. Always there's moreness, and they're not necessarily following on. Yes, we're going to go through the story, but it doesn't matter, right? So can come any time at all. And just for anybody watching the replay, if somebody's really stuck on a point, what exactly do you mean by noble? I want to know more about this. I can't cross my head, doesn't compute this. You know, to me, to think that you're going to be noble is like the biggest egotistical thing ever. I want to know more. You can come on Zoom any other time in the week, anytime. If there's something that's relevant to this that you want to discuss and get into, anytime you're open, right? Just let me know. So this is an open invitation, in other words, right? It's a big deal what I'm sharing here. So, all right. Thank you again, everybody. Ah, it was so fabulous. It was so fabulous. So enjoyable. Look at our timing too. Perfect timing. All right. We're about to go. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. 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 End meeting for all.